All right, let's give this a shot. All right, so today I want to talk a little bit about working with Dojo forms. All right, so a cool thing is that Dojo has a library, Dojo widgets, that comes with pretty much everything you need to create form-based applications, which is just about anything that takes input, right? Mail form, like you want email signups, or you're collecting some sort of data, doing surveys, whatever. Yeah, that's kind of stuff that you can use. There's not a lot about forms on the actual Dojo guide pages. I didn't note that I could see right away. They got the build stuff, middleware, creating widgets, overview, routing. Right. If you really want to learn how to work with it, you want to go to the Dojo widgets GitHub page, and from there you can go to the widgets. What's it called? Yeah, I have it here. This is the SDK, the documentation for it. So widgets.dojo.io. This is where you actually find the documentation for all the different widgets. Tell you how to use it. If you use the CLI, you can build your dojo, which you're obviously going to be doing. You already have the widgets available to you to use. They have things you can bring in for them. A lot of the types and everything are in there. But they got the form one down here. The form one is pretty interesting. So this is the example of how you work with the forms. And what I think is interesting to note here is that the Dojo widgets, excuse me, oh, itchy ear. The forms come with a form middleware, which is kind of cool, right? So you pull the values for your entire form that you're using, and you just use the middleware for that to pull it out. This saves you from having to maybe use the cache, the local cache inside your widget to manage everything. You'd still use the local cache because you probably want to update the cache based on what's been added to the form, but you just get this form middleware automatically to work with, right? They show you how you do it up here. So let's do something very similar to this. Let me let's see. Dojo create forms. Let me go to create this. I did try this earlier, just kind of get feet wet with it and get more familiar with it and stuff. I think I've got it working. So we'll do something very similar to what they're already doing here. Sysman npm install goes through, which I probably, in hindsight, should have done before I started the stream, obviously. Come on. Yeah, this is kind of neat. I like the way I like this form middleware, how everything's just kind of available to you in there. Okay, so dev, Dojo projects, Dojo forms. Okay. So what I'm going to do is this is the default Dojo app that you already get. I'm not going to go over in too much detail. I've shown it plenty of times before. What I want to do is I want to create a form that's going to collect the first name, last name, just as the sample over here is showing from the documentation. So I'll do the first name, last name, but I'm also going to collect the birth date so I can have it create a custom username based on the person's full name and their birth date, maybe just the year or something like that, right? So I'll start bringing in some things I need. Let's see here. What do they do? So, oh, here's a cool one. So the iCache typically, if you're just normally when you work with iCache, you're just working with a single value. You're working with a number or date or string or something, but maybe you want to work with an object, right? And you want to type that object. So you can do that by using this create iCache middleware up here. So the way I do that, so I'm going to go ahead and import from Dojo, not widgets, framework, or middleware iCache. And this is going to be the that spell. Create iCache middleware. So we'll take care of that in a second. I need the form stuff, so let's go ahead and import form, and we'll bring in some other things from form in a second here. Widgets, form. So from form, I need a couple other helpers here, right? So we're going to have the form field and form group that we're going to bring in. These are the way you're going to organize sections of the form, right? Different inputs. We're also going to want the typing for the form middleware. We don't want the form middleware. There's an actual middleware for it, but there's also an interface for that we're going to want access to. Dojo widgets. I think it's just coming from form. Oops. Middleware. There we go. And the type is just an export. It's not the default, so use the brackets. What else do I want here? I'm going to want a text input, just like they've got over here. Dojo widgets, text input. You see there's tons of options for different form-based widgets and everything you can bring in. I'm also going to want the date input. Now, I haven't worked with the date input before, so this is my first time trying this one out. And then to submit our form, we need a button. And this is just regular Dojo widgets button that we'll use. Yeah. Okay. So we got that. So now what I want to do is I need an interface for my form, right? So these are form fields. I do want the first name. It's optional. It's a string. I want the last name. Again, optional string. And then date of birth. Birthday. Happy birthday, fool. And this would be a date. Now this is when I tried this earlier. This was the part, I don't know if I did this right. I say that I haven't worked with the date input before, or I worked the calendar widget before. I don't think I've worked with the actual date input, and I don't know if I'm doing it right. But what I did works, so we'll stick with it. And when I get to the part that messed me up, I'll point it out. Okay, so let's create our iCache, right? So we're going to create an iCache, and it's going to be equal to create iCache middleware. Now the middleware is going to be a type. It's going to be typed middleware. Sorry, it's not a type. And that type is going to have a profile object that is optional, and it's going to have the form fields. All right. So yeah, it's going to based on the form fields. Which is pretty much what they did here. They've got some fields where their fields came from. Oh, down here. Kind of odd. I mean, these fields are already optional. They did a partial of the fields. I don't think you need to do that, but because if I didn't have a question mark on these, then you would use partial. But I don't know. I'm not going to use partial because I don't think you actually need it. It's probably just to be safe. So, okay, that's fine. Not gonna worry about it. Okay. All right, so let's add that to here. iCache. Okay, so now we have an iCache there. Now, in addition to the properties, we have a middleware, and this is going to have our iCache there. Good little TypeScript. Everything just kind of works, right? So okay, so now we want is we're gonna we have our username, which is coming from the parent widget, but I also want my profile. That's gonna be equal to iCache.get, and I do not have a default for this one. I'm not going to define default values. Maybe I could, I suppose, but I am not going to. So, all right, that's fine. Right now, this won't compile. It'll just show a bunch of errors because I'm not using all the form stuff yet. So let's get the form in, and then we'll run it, and we'll see what kind of magic can happen. Let me just do some cleanup here. And I'll format all this stuff at the very end. Don't really care. Whoa, yeah, I care about that. Don't really care about the format of everything right now, so I'll leave this H1 in here, and because I'm going to put the H1 in the form, I need to have a virtual DOM nodes, which is pretty much just kind of like DOM node fragments, right? Because you can only have a single node, virtual node returned, VDOM node returned from vnodes when you're doing this kind of stuff, virtual DOM stuff. So yeah, I'll wrap it in a virtual, which is like a VDOM version of a fragment. So okay, enough of that nonsense. You don't care. Let me see here. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and have my form. All right, so there is my form. And in my form, I should probably give it a name. Oops. It's going to be equal to, oops, don't want that. Profile form. Do a little cleanup here. So, okay, so I got a name. I don't know what. So with the form, I want to take advantage of this form middleware that I get. That gives me all of the values for the form itself. All the inputs I'm going to put in here, I want all of those values. So what I can do is I can actually pass a function in here, and this function is going to give me my form middleware, which you can see on the form child renderer. It returns back the form middleware. And that middleware gives you a field value. So if I type this object as form middleware, that should behave nicely. So there we go. So now I have the field value. So now what I want to do is I want to say, we'll just do the first name right now. So first name is, that's not what I want. First name, god damn it. There we go. Is equal to field. This is a function that works a lot like the iCache, right? You give it a string with the name of the property that you want, and you're going to get that back. All right, so okay. It's erroring because I am not returning anything yet. It's void. That's not a correct type, so we're not worried about that. So now what I want to do is return something because its type's complaining. Now again, I'm returning different pieces of the form, all the different inputs. So I'm going to wrap this in a virtual. I think they do that. Yeah, they do it over here too. Good. I'm doing things right if they're doing it in the example sample, which I kind of use as a guide, right? So. And let's see, we'll do this form group, right? And the form group is just going to hold my form field. So let me. So this is my first group, which is just going to be the text input. We have a form field. If you hear my dog bark in the background, she barks at anything at all that moves outside our front door. Great guard dog, but she's just so tiny and loud. Okay, so now let's put our text input in here. A bug in my room. Okay, so this text input is going to do a couple things. First off, we need a key. So the key is going to be first name. Give it a placeholder. Placeholder is equal to enter first name, not Feist. Although, remember Feist? Feist is really cool. The initial value is going to be, so the initial value would be whatever we get from the form, right? The form fields that we defined earlier. It's nothing. It's empty. There is no initial value yet. So it's okay. We'll just use that. But when the value changes, the on value, we actually want to update these form, the form middleware to hold this value. So we'll just pass the function without executing it, and then that'll get executed when the on value runs, right? And then with the Dojo widgets, they take a, oh, it does that. My Vim is jacked up. I think I should do this. I don't think my Vim likes when I do stuff like that. So it's going to take an object for the label, and the label is going to be first name. Yeah, I think I'm doing this right. So I've got errors, and I know my error up here. What's this error for? Requires one type argument. What did I not? Sorry. Yeah. So the form middleware needs to know what the type interface is for the fields. So this is the form fields types interface that we're using. It's typed. And I'm not actually using the profile yet, so I'm just going to console.log it for now. We actually don't use this till we're just about done with the form. Okay, so no more errors. TypeScript is semi-happy. I mean, is TypeScript ever really happy, right? Let's get real. Kidding, I love TypeScript. Okay, so let's npm run dev. Give it a second to do its thing. Run errors. What kind of errors are we talking here? What errors? Oh, darn it. It's because I'm not using all those values at the top. This is the way Dojo's app is set up when you first run it. And I think I could probably go into tsconfig or somewhere. Trying to think of where that I can make that a little bit more lax, but it's because I'm not using data input, not using button yet. And now the build should just work. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Let's refresh this. Go to profile. So there we go. All right. Chuck Bartowski. I've been watching. I just finished rewatching all of Chuck from season 1 again. So you'll probably see lots of Chuck references in my stuff for a while. Love that show. Damn it, so great. Anyway, that's the first name Chuck. All right. For Charles. Okay, so we got that. That works. I mean, that's fairly straightforward and simple. We're not getting too much magic yet. So let's go ahead and see here. What am I? So I've got how many lines here? I don't know how to use Vim to count. I'm sorry. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What? Is that right? Yeah. Let's just copy this, paste it. Let's go ahead and do over here, const last name is equal to field. Oh, come on. Last name. All right, so we get the last name from the form middleware. We're going to go ahead and use that over here. The initial value changes all to last name. And if I were so inclined, I would take the time to do this with a Vim correctly. But I'm just trying to get this done. Yeah. Alright, so we have first name, last name. So now we need date of birth, right? So this is going to be very similar to what we had done before. Except this time it's going to be a date input. And date input is a little different. It doesn't have a key. I'm actually not sure why it doesn't have a key property. I thought the keys were so that the unique names I could grab if I needed them. Or that the, yeah, I don't know. So we'll just give this birthday. There's no placeholder, but there is a label. And the label should be date of birth. So this will get the birthday or the date of birth from our form field middleware. Const birthday is equal to field birthday. Bam. Now remember, I typed birthday as a date, and I want to change that here to birthday here. Now, don't think this part's going to work. I think this is going to give me an error if I just do this. Birthday.value. Right, so initial value, type date undefined, is not assigned. Okay, so if I save it, we can actually see the full error up here. Easier than the Vim. Right here. Alright, so not worry about last names declared there. Oh, did I change on the wrong one? Alright. I was meant to change it out here. It's a good thing I did that. That's where I meant to change it. Oh, it's not erroring now. Okay, maybe this will work. No, there's another error there. What is it? A couple errors. Did not find date input. Oh, silly me. I forgot that I had commented that out. So let's go ahead and uncomment it. Build errors. So type date undefined is not assignable to type string undefined. So this is where I had to do get a little bit funky, and I had to bring in some utilities from Dojo. So I had to bring in this what is it? It's a date utility that Dojo has in the date input. Right? So Dojo widgets date input date utils, and this is what I don't know if I'm using correctly. So I'm gonna bring in format date ISO, right? And then I'm gonna go ahead down here, and when I do the initial value, I'm actually gonna wrap this initial value. Not there. Here we go. Here. I'm gonna wrap it in the format date ISO function, but this also is going to get error. Well, no wait, that didn't error. Built? Okay, it's still built. Okay. I thought it was going to throw an error on me. Okay, so let's do a couple more things in here before we move on. Right, so let's see here. No, we'll just keep it like this. I think this is, yeah, okay. So let's just go through this real quick. So we have a date input in here. I can change the year, right? 80, just say August 5th. We got Charles, Carmichael, right? And then we need a submit button now. And that submit button is going to update our username. Cross your fingers. So let's go ahead and uncomment our button that we're bringing in here. Second here. All right, so the button's going to go after this form group, right? And so we got a submit button, right? We can call it update, whatever. I don't think anybody cares. Key is going to be equal to submit. Type is going to be equal to submit. Okay, so now what we want to do is on the form itself, we want to change the what happens when you submit, right? Or else not, it's going to try and post to just the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's still a form on the page, right? So don't forget that. So on submit, right, we're going to pass in an object which has the form properties, which are going to be the different values. Okay, and those values are what we're going to use to update the actual profile. So iCache.set profile with the values. There we go. Boom. Just like that. So we have a submit form, so Charles Carmichael. No idea when Carmichael was actually born, but we'll go with like 1980. I know it's not his birthday. Submit. Okay, so we submitted, but you can't tell anything happened because I'm not updating the actual username. So let's do that. So we get a username from the parent widget. I'm not going to change that, but let's go ahead and create a display name. So display name is going to be equal to username. But if profile and profile dot, let's assume all of them. We want them all to used. Let's just go with birthday and last name. Okay. My Vim is weird. It did that to me earlier today, and I don't know why. It like did new line for me there. Profile. Okay, so now what I want to say is I want to say that display name is going to be equal to, and we're going to use the last name, the lowercase, and then we're going to do the birthday dot get full year. I think that'll work. All right, so now we will use that as our display name here. So technically I didn't need the first name, just need the last name. Let's see here, Charles Carmichael with a birth date, August 1st, 2000. Nope, didn't work. It's erroring out. The date.get full year is not defined. Something is not getting updated here. So let's see. Let's check the on submit here. Let's make sure we're actually getting Values. Oh, this is horrible formatting. I'll fix it in a second. Bugging the heck out of me. It wants to format it. Okay. Yeah, so still undefined. Okay, all right. So there was one thing I was doing earlier that I did not do this time. I didn't think I actually needed to do it, but it's the on values for the form. So on value, and then here what I want to do is very similar. Oh, well, yeah, pretty much the same thing. I get the values, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my iCache to update profile, but I want to include the current profile, right? So 3 iCache. I don't know why it does that. Oh, my Vim is wacky. Get profile and use whatever values I get to override. Go to error there. I don't know why. Oh. No. I don't know why I did that. That's so dumb. Don't need that. Alright, something there. Oh, I'm just breaking all kinds of stuff. Okay, wait. Let me try something. Let's undo all that. If I need it, I'll add it back in. Somewhere. I broke something. There we go. See, this is the error I got before. I don't know why. Page here, something else. Something. So that is changing. Profile. See, so it's not a year here, it's a string, my birthday. So that is what was Jack messing me up. So I think what I can do is something like this. So the new date. I need to ask someone why it does that. Yeah, I don't know. This error comes from here, but I think it's because of the way I'm using the date utils and just dumb. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Boom. Carmichael 2000. That's weird. It only happened when I did this. I wonder if I have to run it and validate somewhere. Maybe. It only did it when I changed focus here. But there we go. Carmichael 2000. Not bad, not bad. I changed it to Kowski. Rotowski 2000. Ooh, that's how you can use Dojo forms. But yeah, you get the gist of it. Which, like I said, the parts that are really cool here, working with the Dojo forms, is this form middleware. I think this is really useful to pull the form values out and do something with them inside your form. You might want to have some extra labels or some other forms. Oh, we can do some validation, right? So okay, so let's say that I actually don't know how to do validation. So let's check this one here. So we have some required true. Validate first name and last name as true. We'll put this one as true. And then there's a way to check validation as well when you do stuff. All right. So here we go. So I get it. So what we want to do, we want to make the back over here the thing. So we want to say, we see in the typings here. So required, yes. First name is required. Last name required. Actually, this technically is not required. The first name is technically not required. The last name is. But the way that I'm doing it anyway, right? Creating the username based off of these values. And from here, we want to do is you get the field, but you also get a valid helper method to check if it's valid. That'll return a boolean. So then what I can do is, I don't care about first name, but last name I could say that required is equal to true. I think I would put it like that. Does it work if I do that? Maybe. Nope. Something like that. Leave it like that. There we go. And the date input, which I should. And this one by default is always going to work anyway because I give an initial value of a date. It doesn't like it. It does not like having the required on it. So I think it's because it's always going to give you a date anyway, so there's no reason to have it say it's required. But now we get this little asterisks here, right? So Charles, boom. And then if we do something like on submit, we could say that over here. I guess how would I do it? So on submit. Yeah, change the valids. Maybe we won't show the submit button. So yeah, let's do that. So if not valid, or let's change it to if valid. All right, let's grab this. Huh. What the world? My Vim acting weird today. It's okay. No big, no big. Ah. Jeez, man. Okay, sorry, my bad. There we go. That's the way I do it. I forget where I'm at. So if it's valid, then do that. Return it. Show the button. That's what I meant to do. Okay, so there we go. Charles Carmichael. Oh. Okay, it's not doing it. How'd they do it over here? Where was it? I was just looking at that valid thing, wasn't I? Oh, I guess I have to do it on validate. Okay, okay. I gotta do some validation in actual forms. Okay, I didn't know that. I said I hadn't done this before. Don't give me a hard time. So first name not value, valid. Actually, we're not doing. We don't care about first name. I care about last name. I'm gonna take this off. So I think this might mess me up at some point. So for last name, valid is equal to last name dot valid, and then unvalidate last name dot valid. This is going to work the same way as the value update. So when it's valid, it'll update the validation of it, and that should just work. Right, so still don't have my. It's a bad idea to try to do that. It's just disabled. Okay, that's what they did. So it's still showing the button. Too bad. I wouldn't like that. To do it this way. My way's kind of cool. I feel this still isn't going to work the way I want it to. I need to spend more time with this. Still disabled. Yeah, see, I'm doing something wrong with the validation part. So we'll just leave that off. Back over here, Charles Carmichael with a birth date. Yeah, there we go. Again, there's still some things I don't know how to do. I'm sure that they normally work just fine. So I'll have to check with the team on that to find out what I'm doing wrong. I'm sure it's pretty simple. But that's how you can work with Dojo forms, right? So you can see it's got validation built in. I was just doing, I'm sure I'm just doing validation wrong here somehow. It's got the form field helpers. You can type everything in your form, which is really nice. And then on submit, in this case here, I'm just updating the local cache when I do submit, but this is also going to be where you pass this on to a resource for the widget, or maybe pass it on to global application store with process and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. There you go. That's how you can play with the Dojo forums and do some pretty cool stuff. Everybody builds apps that takes input most of the time, right? So have fun, enjoy. See you next time.